Hi, my name is Gabe Newell, and welcome to Left4Dead. Left4Dead is our first attempt to combine the strengths of single-player and multiplayer games. We wanted to take the character-driven storytelling of our single-player games, like Half-Life, and combine it with the social replayability of our multiplayer games, like Counter-Strike and Team Fortress 2. Plus, Left4Dead has zombie hordes and co-op, so what's not to like? To listen to a commentary node, put your crosshair over the floating commentary symbol and press your use key. To stop a commentary node, put your crosshair over the rotating node and press the use key again. Some commentary nodes may take control of the game in order to show something to you. In these cases, simply press your use key again to stop the commentary. Please let me know what you think after you've had a chance to play Left4Dead. I can be reached at gaben@valvesoftware.com. I get about 10,000 emails each time we release a game, and while I can't respond to all of them, I do read all of them. Thanks, and have fun.
We experimented with a variety of different introductions for each campaign. For No Mercy, we tried a 40-second fly-in of the helicopter to give the player a more movie-like introduction to the game. Ultimately, we found that such elaborate cutscenes are hard to watch over and over in a game that's built for replayability. Playtesters wanted to get into the game and start playing right away, so we ended up going with a much more streamlined game intro.
While we were developing bots for Counter-Strike Source, we discovered that a few of us armed to the teeth with automatic weaponry against 30 knife-wielding enemy bots was a lot of fun. After shipping Counter-Strike Source in late 2004, we started experimenting with new game prototypes. That basic kernel of small team of friends against hordes of clawing enemies was something we kept coming back to, and we soon realized that the co-op versus the horde game had a ton of potential. We started work in earnest on what was to become Left4Dead in early 2005, and in about a week, we had a very rough but very playable and fun prototype. We began our daily cycle of playtest, discuss, and modify that continued for the next 3 years. Left4Dead is the result of this evolutionary design process.
Originally in Left4Dead, there were some features that made it possible for players to cause trouble for others. This behavior, known as griefing, can really ruin the experience of a game, especially for newer players. For instance, at this starting location, while players were still getting used to the controls, other players might push them off the roof and cause them to fall and die before the game really even gets started. This is one of the main reasons we changed the survivors' behavior so they could no longer push each other.
We treat the infected horde as a major character in Left4Dead and spend a lot of effort in making their movements believable. This includes hundreds of motion-captured animations that are algorithmically blended with the physics system to create characters that realistically interact with their environment and each other. The common hordes stagger around, cough, vomit, fight amongst themselves, lean against walls, sit on the ground, and lie down as part of their wandering behaviors. If something wakes them from their stupor, they become alert and look around for the source of the disturbance. When they see a survivor, they become enraged and acquire that survivor as a target, taking off at a full sprint, leaning into their turns, jumping and climbing over everything in their way, trying to get to their victim. We wanted to express this rage in their faces as well, so we found efficient ways for each member of the horde to make intense facial expressions. We chose to make their eyes a solid milky white, partially because it looks creepy and disturbing, but also because it's much less expensive than drawing and controlling separate eyeballs for each infected.
Look at this!
Left4Dead requires a variety of areas off the main path where the infected can spawn. We learned that once we had created these spaces, players naturally wanted to explore them. So fairly late in development, we decided to reward the players for going into these areas by allowing the random creation of bonus items such as pain pills, Molotovs, pipe bombs, and extra pistols.
Zoe.
common attitude toward music in multiplayer games is that it just gets in the way. We wanted the music in Left 4 Dead to heighten the key emotional elements that should be inherent in a horror game, keeping in mind that everything in a game should contribute to gameplay. Therefore, we made a simple set of goals that the music should meet to keep people from turning it on. Players who leave the music on are treated to a variety of subtle audio cues that not only deepen the horror experience, but make them better players.
Once the game is in a playable state, we bring in friends and family who've never played the game to playtest specific areas, maps, or campaigns. These players bring a fresh perspective and objectivity to the game experience that often gives us new insights into what's working and what's not in our games. We observe their play and experience their exhilarations and frustrations. While playing, we encourage them to talk and ask questions to get a better idea of what they're thinking, though we let them know that we won't be able to answer any of those questions or offer any help. Watching these playtests helps us to tune the game so that the first-time players understand the game mechanics and the basic premise for how the game is played, and that we're achieving the right balance of challenges and rewards. After the play session is complete, there's a final Q&A session where we ask them about their experience to gain more specific insight than we were able to obtain through observation. One approach we use here is to ask them what the best and worst moments of the experience were for them and why. This is especially useful feedback to help us identify and prioritize our key issues in improving the game experience.
The designs of the boss infected were driven directly from weaknesses observed during our daily playtesting. For example, in the very early days of the game, there were only common infected. As a result, the survivors had a very simple rule of shoot everything that moves. Although this was fun, it lacked tactical depth and variety. The Boomer's goal was to shake this simple rule up a bit, and he became the zombie that you do not want to shoot. Originally, the Boomer just exploded when shot, instantly dealing a lot of damage to everyone nearby, or even the whole team if someone made a bad decision in close quarters. The Boomer didn't yet have his vomit attack. That horde drawing ability belonged to the Screamer. As the design of the game continued to evolve, the Screamer was cut, and this horde attracting ability was transferred to the Boomer's vomit attack. This attack fit the hugely obese and gluttonous visual design of the Boomer well. Once the Boomer could vomit, we realized that this was a much more interesting game mechanic and changed the explosion from an instantaneous damage-causing one into the current vomit-splattering one. The Boomer's vomit has a couple of very interesting game mechanics. Along with being temporarily blinded with vomit in their eyes, whoever is hit by the vomit becomes it, and the incoming horde of zombies only attacks that player, essentially leaving him to the mercy of his teammates' willingness to protect him. The other players who have not been vomited on have to make a quick decision about how to deal with this new situation. Another feature of the vomit attack is that it is not an instantaneous blow that causes damage, unlike the previous exploding version of the Boomer. Instead, there are often several seconds of dread and anticipation where the player knows the horde is coming and can prepare for the onslaught, but there's uncertainty about how things are going to play out. This kind of anticipatory drama is amazingly powerful and makes the whole Left 4 Dead experience work well and keeps the players on their toes.